efficiency, and reliability. Now, before we dive into the discussion, let's start with a quick icebreaker to get to know our panelists a little bit better. I'll be starting with you, Chidi. Welcome again, Chidi. I would just want to know what sparked your interest in networks, and what was that defining moment that made you say that this field is for me?
All right, thank you so much, Daniel. Thanks for having me. I'm great. I'm pleased to be here. In terms of what sparked my interests, I think when I look back a few years back, I had a mentor who had a lot of books littered all over his house, and I'll go visit. I was fresh from school at the time. And yes, I came out, I studied engineering in school. And so I'd like the way to understand how things work, but
Yeah.
having a mentor who was focused on tech and networks was one of the things that, inspired me, right? It was easy for me to see the way his career, took off, in 2 years. It was about 2 years ahead of me in the university. So that gave me that drive to say, look, this is something I really want to do and something I think I can do very well. Yeah. So I started, um, looking for the materials, the right books. There's a book in those days called Networking Essentials, right? It used to be
Yeah.
this big. So I think I read that book probably 3 or 4 times back to back. Yeah,
Wow.
and that's how really I kind of sparked my interest. And over the years, I've focused on networking and security.
And thank you, Chidi, for sharing that with us. That's beautiful and very insightful. Thank you so much. I'd also be extending this question to you too, Theodore. What sparked? I would also be extending this question to you, or Osahan, rather. What sparked your interest in networks?
First of all, thanks for having me. My journey with network has been a very long one, and way back when
Right.
I was still at the undergraduate level,
Was
it was very difficult to have one or two computers talk to each other, and because of that, I started looking at the network. I had, just like Chidi, also had a mentor while I was in school who taught me basic networking, and as a matter of fact, I think one of my projects in the university was basically on local area networks. And when I did that project, I immediately felt like a guru because at the time I was studying computer science at Abuja University. So there was a lot of challenges around learning technology at the time. And when I got a mentor that also put me through some of those things, though it was very difficult initially, but later I got to understand how we could layer computers on top of computers or have one or more computers talk to each other. So gradually, as I began to work with other solutions or other parts of technology, I continue to appreciate network even more. So that's how I got into network. Thank you.
Thank you, Osahan. That was quite insightful. I also studied at Rosali University, so that's very, very good to know. Thank you, guys. I'd also want to ask Chidi, what was one misconception about network infrastructure that you'd love to debunk? Hi, Chidi, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm pondering on the question, misconception about network infrastructure. Okay, I'll say um, there's a general view that there's a limit to what fiber links can carry, right? The amount of traffic that fiber links can carry. Theoretically, fiber can carry unlimited amount of traffic. So maybe that's one misconception that readily comes to mind. Fiber can carry unlimited amount of traffic. The limitation is really the endpoints or the devices that connect at both ends of the fiber cable.
Yeah, man, that's wonderful to share. Thank you so much. And now, let's get into our discussion for the day. I would want to know, now let's start with the foundation. Let's start with the foundation. What are the most common limitations of traditional network infrastructures or legacy system that business struggle with today? Chidi, can you help us with that? Hi, Chidi.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Chidi.
Okay, thanks, Daniel, for that question. So businesses today struggle with several limitations of traditional network infrastructures. And this is largely because businesses are going concerns, right? And they have evolving business needs. And these evolving business needs will always give rise to the need for changes, additions, movements, modifications in the networks. All right. There are new application, new needs for need for new applications, needs for the need for new services, right? These changes, right? These new needs or these evolving needs gives rise to what I refer to as complexities, right? Complexities, maintaining core traditional networks and then now integrating new services or new applications onto those traditional networks, right? So these complexities obviously create what I refer to as bottlenecks, right? That impede either flow of traffic or come with challenges around interoperability, right? And then it creates poor user experience. A number of times you now have users being impacted by virtue of more or less merging old traditional networks with newer ways or newer applications or newer systems, right? So if you went into the market today to make, you wanted a router, you wanted a switch, for example, you most likely will be buying the newer devices that are readily available in the market. And to a large extent, these devices are different from devices that probably were available in the market 10, 15 years ago, right? So all of these, kind of come together to create complexities that lead to poor user experience, impacting even data security, because as you know, newer devices will come with newer security protocols. Older devices will come with older security protocols. All of this you need to bring together, right? And this creates complexity. Yeah. These complexities create ultimately poor user experience and impacts traditional network infrastructures negatively.
Hi, Chidi. Thank you so much for that. I think my key takeaway from that would be evolving business needs brings about complexities, and these complexities now stretches our network infrastructure for them to now be scalable and then looking at modern ways of now doing things in terms of business. Thank you so much for that. That was very, very insightful, Chidi. Okay. Now that network landscapes are evolving, so also is the concern of cybersecurity. Also, looking at security, what are the biggest cybersecurity threat facing enterprise networks today, and how can business defend against them?
Okay. Most of the threats you find today, usually threats, maybe man-in-the-middle attack. You have man-in-the-middle attack, you have a distributed denial of service, and we also have what commonly called ransomware attacks and all of that. All of this, they happen as a result of having an unsecured network, right? And it's very important for organizations when they are building systems, it's always very good to have a clear understanding of what the system is going to be about, the kind of solutions that you're going to layer on top of your either current infrastructure or the would-be infrastructure. And the reason for this is having gone into several projects, realize that some people, even as advanced as technology today, they are still very, let me use the word, trigger happy when it comes to using technology tools. Everybody just wants to get into the next solution or the next new thing out there, and they just layer it on top of the environment without even checking. Now, one of the things I usually ask network guys during interviews are, how do you protect the data at rest, data in transit? Because those are the most vulnerable parts of your environment. And from there, a packet sniffer can sniff your organization's network and be able to gather sensitive data, and things like PR information, user account, and all of that we go out from there. So it's always very good that organizations have maybe a very good cybersecurity specialists within their environment, and always have monitoring tools to monitor some of these things, because irrespective of how secured your environment may be or how secured your solution may be, if your network is not secured, you are already vulnerable. And like we say, we are as strong as our weakest link. So I just want to chip that in. And I think it's very good practice for anybody that's going into technology, irrespective of the area of technology you want to be able to have a foundation of network. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam, for that. Thank you so much for that. Looking at our technology landscape and the drive of internet connectivity into spaces where network connectivity wasn't there before, the introduction of Starlink, the introduction of 5G, these has widened the threat landscape. In as much as we have deeper internet penetration, it has also widened the threat landscape. So there is need for us to find ways to now secure our network so that the enterprise environment can be well secured. Thank you so much for that. Now, I'd also like to know that business are shifting to cloud-based networks. How does this impact network performance? And what should business consider when adopting them? Sam, can you help us with that?
Sure. Okay. Before now, when organizations are trying to build solutions, they get a network specialist to build or set up their network infrastructure. Now, and that, you agree with me, was not readily available, especially in this part of the world. And the few guys that became very good in it, they're either too maybe unaffordable or they're out of the country. They keep living. So the cloud, when you go into the cloud made it a little bit easier for a non-network specialist to handle networks. So if you are a solutions architect in cloud, part of your foundation knowledge will now be around setting up your network, your organization's network within the cloud. And they provided a lot of tools where you can actually secure all these loopholes. You can move sensitive data or sensitive or critical systems away from the World Wide Web or the public, and create things like bastion hosts to be able to monitor or administer those machines. So again, way back when you were looking at networks, you needed to have maybe like a Cisco knowledge or all of that to do some of these things. That foundation was very good coming from the network specialist. But today you could also do the same thing with some of the tools that are readily available, which are more GUI based. So it now depends on how good your solutions architect are, and if it's an enterprise solution, they might also need to work with network engineers as well. So that way they can secure the environment.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you. Now, looking at business are shifting to cloud-based networking. One of the advantages I know cloud-based networking brings to the table is for you to now explore the options of using SD-WAN. SD-WAN would also find a way to save you cost, because you now have cheaper options when it comes to connectivity to also drive your business and to drive value to your customer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Tosan. Now, still on networks. Because this is critical for operational efficiency, what are the key factors that affect speed and reliability, and how can business optimize network performance to ensure high speed, low latency operations? Theodore, welcome. Can you help us with that?
Yeah, thank you very much. Apologies for the glitch in joining the webinar earlier. I just had to make sure that I was here to share my own thoughts and experience as well. Now, in terms of mitigating low latency and bottlenecks, what I would suggest here, or what I would share here, is environments being able to have the adequate visibility as required. And this will not just limit to internal infrastructure. This will also extend to external infrastructures as well as internet insights. Now, I'll paint a scenario, and I would round up as well. Picture a scenario where you have downtimes on your network, but you're not able to tell the exact point where you have these issues, or you're not able to tell which device is affected in question. Now, this would reduce, obviously, user experience. This would reduce productivity. This would also affect the entire business as a whole. But also picture it that you have the right tools in place, and you are able to see, and you're able to have 360 view over the entire environment, as well as also giving you insights of what is happening in terms of accessing online workloads or SASE environments. Now, with this, you'll be able to tell if a device is performing optimally, if a service provider is giving you the required services in terms of maybe a lease line or direct internet access, if you're also accessing the right bandwidth, and in terms of traffic flow, if your packets are flowing in the right direction, because that could be another issue, facing issues like, either maybe by introducing a route that is not, meant to be on your network, or a black hole, so to say. So given all these examples and scenarios, enterprise networks or enterprise environments should be able to have deep visibility, either internal or external. And with this, they should be, they'll be able to deliver best user experience.
Yeah, thank you, Theodore. I like the way you ended it. I mean, deep visibility. With deep visibility comes assurance and analytics. I mean, when enterprises are developing and deploying solutions today, analytics and assurance is one key area they're always focusing on, because this would help optimize how you use your network and also drive values down to your users. Thank you so much for that. Chidi, to you, can you explain the role of zero trust security and AI-driven text detection in modern network security? Chidi.
Okay, so okay. Thanks for trying to unmute me this time around. I appreciate that. Okay, so zero trust. So zero trust is, first of all, can you hear me? Let me just make sure I'm heard. Can you hear me, Daniel?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. Okay. So zero trust is, first of all, a concept, right? It's first of all a concept. It's also a strategic approach, right? That eliminates the assumption of trust. Another way to put it is to say zero trust says, I trust no one, I trust no device, I trust no site, I trust nothing until explicitly provided, until explicitly accounted for. It requires a process of continuous verification of trust. Zero trust says, when I will not grant you access to the network until I know exactly who you are, what resource you're trying to access, and for how long you need to access the resource. So even when we've granted you access to a resource, it's not a one-time permanent access. We keep verifying that you still should continue having access to that resource. Now, you would wonder, in the past, most access solutions or the concept of security was not this elastic, because once we granted you access, you had full access, right? Today, no. And the reason is because of the needs that modern network security creates by virtue of technologies like BYOD, IoT, cloud adoption. These services or these technologies have a changing threat landscape, right? And the threat landscape is not just wide, but it's also it's just about everywhere, right? And so it's important that zero trust, that concept of zero trust, is enforced in organizations in order to drive a higher level of security. Now, in your question, you asked about zero trust as well as AI, right? How does AI drive or enhance zero trust? So AI-driven threat detection obviously plays a significant role in enhancing the ways zero trust is implemented today. We're having newer and newer models, right, of security deployment or security technology that is zero trust based, being driven by AI and machine learning systems. And the general concept of this is, answering the questions, the basic questions of how do we address threats faster? How can we respond to threats faster? How can we reduce the time we're detecting, the time to detect? How do we ensure that after detection, we're responding effectively? And how are we ensuring that the overall security efficacy of an environment is maintained, right? So AI is driving the concept of zero trust consistently. And so we're seeing newer systems being designed as well with advanced analytics embedded in it.
Thank you, Chidi. Thank you, Chidi. That was very detailed and that was very insightful. The zero trust means trust no one. If anybody has been on your network and they are coming back again, they have to prove themselves on why they are supposed to be there. We've heard of scenarios where people use deepfakes to get into networks or to even give commands to their staffs. I remember I've heard of someone said about a manager joining a call, meanwhile he wasn't him. Somebody used a deep fake and had did some approval for some money to be spent. So that is where we have to be security conscious. And as companies, we also need to push down the fact to have a very robust IT, or I'll say a good IT hygiene to be driven across board too. Thank you so much for that, Chidi. Very insightful. Now over you to Osahon. I'm going to ask, what are some of the factors to consider when integrating AI and automation into network infrastructures?
Okay. First of all, yeah, AI is good, but you need to understand the source of the AI model. Just like you mentioned earlier, you're having deepfakes around now. Same way you can get any model to pose as a threat to your network, and it can assume the identity of anybody within your organization if you are not sure of the model that you are using. So again, anybody that's implementing AI, we have a lot of models out there today, but it's also very good for whoever is implementing, not just going online and picking any AI or bot within that your hands can reach. Some of those bots have been injected with a lot of tools to sniff your network once you deploy it on your network. Might be doing the work you want it to do at the moment, but again, if it's not a registered model, or if you didn't work with a foundation model like we have now for agentic AI and stuff like that, you are very likely to have problems. Now, again, once you build, normally when you build your AI, there's always need for you to retrain your models and all of that. When you are retraining your model, also look at data you have retrained your models with, and just to ensure that you are still secured. Because if most especially if you are pulling out if you are training your models from external sources that's outside of your organization, like using public data to train your model. So you have to be very careful to so that you cannot disrupt the service. So those are some of the things that need to be really taken into consideration before you implement AI within your organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Osam. Thank you. I know AI is is like a new wave now, but it has been here for quite some time, and everybody's looking at how to use AI to scale their productivity and optimize business processes. But we have to also be very conscious about the kind of AI models we adopt, and we also need to know how equipped the business and the network or the infrastructure is AI ready. So that is very, very important before we just jump into that. Thank you so much, Osama, for that. Over to you, Theodore. I would want to ask you, how should businesses balance security, scalability, and cost effectiveness when modernizing their networks?
Thank you very much. So first of all, I'll talk about scalability. I'll take it one at a time. First of all, I'll talk about scalability. And networks or environments being scalable means them accommodating growth. And not just accommodating growth, but also picturing it in terms of a digital transformation model. So environments are, encouraged to always look at where they want to be in the nearest future and make sure or adopt a model that gives them room for expansion. I mean, if you look at the way businesses are, structured in Africa, or the way businesses are evolving in Africa, most of them do not actually encompass that attitude of growing in the next 1 year or in the next, for example, maybe 3 years. So my take here would be that businesses should make sure or ensure that they put in strategies and policies to accommodate digital transformation process or digital transformation journey. And this will give them the room to be more scalable, even in terms of not just network infrastructure, but general, enterprise infrastructures, as well as extending to even applications and workforce. Then also in terms of, because now you now have to also look at what the enterprise or what the business has to spend, right? And this is where professionals' advice or professional services come in. They have to seek advice of professionals that know how to do these things, that have expertise to, to bring to the table. And this will guide them in terms of putting the right resources in the right places, because most times we've also had cases or issues where businesses want to expand. They know the right thing to do, but because they have not, gotten the help or seek the help of a professional who knows how to do these things, they tend to make mistakes. So one is knowing where you're going to, and putting the right resources in the right place, which now helps the enterprise adopt the right cost and spend what they need to spend in the right way.
Yeah, thank you, Theodore. Wow, wonderful, wonderful. I think my key takeaway from that would be when businesses are looking to scale and also cost effective and modernize their network, that would be taking them on a digital transformation journey. Business will assess what they have currently and look at where they are and look at where they look at being in the next maybe 10, 15 years, and they start a journey with a roadmap. And again, you also made mention of engaging the right people. Very, very important to engage the right people, or when you're about to start your digital transformation journey, so that they come in, do an assessment, look for the gaps and make recommendation. Then you start working on those recommendations. You come up with timelines, you come up with committees to discuss all of that. Thank you so much. That was very detailed and very insightful. Now over to you, Chidi. Can you share a real-world example of a company successfully transforming its network architecture? What lessons can other business learn from it?
Okay, thanks a lot, Daniel, for that question. There are quite a number of examples that come to mind, and unfortunately, due to time, I will have to just pick one and pick a specific industry. And for this question, I'll take my example right from the financial services industry. Interestingly, I think I've been a bit close in my career as well to a number of transformation initiatives carried out by a number of institutions within the financial sector. Now, so I'll just take one. One of the ones that, I was closely involved in, as a bank, they set out to achieve, to go on the transformation journey. And there were two things that were top on their minds. One was business resilience, and the second one was improved customer experience. Now, these two things kind of form the pillar for their transformation journey, and they use that to kind of evaluate and assess what they wanted to achieve. My colleague Chooks had just highlighted some of the initial actions that could be taken by an organization that wants to embark. So for this organization, for them to embark on this journey, they have to understand what are my technology assets, right? And of these technology assets, which assets are the most critical assets, right? Identifying the assets, identifying, first of all, the, overarching strategic goal, right? And once you identify the strategic goals, you identify your assets. Your assets are not only equipments, network devices, switches, and firewalls. You also have human assets, right? Identifying the assets and assessing the assets to determine, do I have the right assets to embark on this journey, right? And then, they had to also look at their partnerships, right? What kind of partners do I need to embark on this journey? I need OEMs to embark on this journey, original equipment manufacturers. I need partners with the right skill and competence to deliver the technologies and implement the solutions and deliver on the outcomes. Because remember, technology delivers on outcomes. Technology does not deliver for technology's sake, right? And so all of these had to be, woven together in order to then build the right team of people to drive the transformation initiative. And you had steering committee meetings. I talk about steering committee meetings because it's important for organizations to build the right governance structure to drive transformation. I say this because transformation fails in some organizations, not because they didn't have the right people, not because they didn't have the right technology, not because they didn't have the right initiatives and objectives from the beginning. To a lot of times it fails because of the absence of the right governance structure to drive the transformation initiative, to make sure that the business puts a hand on the pulse. There's consistent supervision and oversight to ensure that the key stakeholders, all key stakeholders, are involved on the journey and understand the outcomes and are measuring progress from time to time. Now, these were some of the things that, in this scenario I'm trying to paint for this bank, they literally had their fingers on the pulse and they were able to phase the journey, right? And identify what they wanted to deliver on phase one, what they want to deliver in phase two, what they want to deliver in phase three. And then they embarked on this journey with huge success. And I can beat my chest to say, at the end of the day, it not only delivers the outcome of resilience or the outcome of improved user experience, it also delivered market value, right? Improvement in the shares of the organization. So that's a typical example of embarking on a journey and understanding end to end what needs to be done and what needs to be focused upon.
Thank you so much for that, Chidi. That was quite detailed. I could tell from the way you are going about this, it is something you've done and it's something you're very passionate about. But you made mention of something that I took note of. You said technology delivers on outcome. Can you expatiate on that a little bit for us?
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. A lot of technology guys love technology and like always excited about technology, and we always talk about, this. Let's use technology to solve problems, and that's great. But you would also understand that the role of CIOs in organizations is not just about technology. The CIO wants to, loves technology, but at the end of the day, we have to deliver outcomes. Businesses are there as going concerns. They have their objectives, they have their goals, they have their priorities, they have the things they want to deliver to their customers. And they want to do it quicker, they want to do it faster, they want to do it, in most sleek way they can do it. They want to earn a higher market, gain a higher market share. And sometimes these are some of the objectives of the organization. And technology is only a conduit. Technology is only the tool that organizations use in order to drive this. So technology is not for technology's sake. That's really what I mean. That we want to be able to enhance the ability of an organization to deliver on its business objectives.
Yeah, thank you, Chidi. Just wanted us to drill down on that a little bit. I mean, this section for me is very, very informative because we are all on this digital transformation journey. And I know how important it is to have key stakeholders on board whenever you're embarking on this journey because everybody needs to be on this ship. I mean, it's a journey that has started. Like you said, it will be broken down into phases and there will be milestones for us to achieve, and we just keep on scaling and scaling. It is actually a journey. It is a digital transformation journey. And thank you so much for that, Chidi. That was very, very insightful. And just a question to the house now. I'd like Osahan to help us handle this. And it says, if you had to give IT decision maker just one piece of advice on future proving their networks, what will it be? One advice, almost all.
Okay. Advice to future proofing the network. One of the things that I would like to advise decision makers is some of the things we use today in technology. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe within the IT guys, those things, when they ask for it, they need it almost immediately. And when you don't listen to your IT guys, especially the ones from the security team, it becomes a problem. So decision makers should now invest in things like dashboards that would give them insight into what is happening around the organization. Just a better view of it, really. So that and I know the way it is with technology, like Chiti just explained, most times when you are going into a business because you want to hit the market, hit the ground running, I want to take a part of that market share. So one of the things I will also advise is because we know that technology is a big factor in the success of any business today, is to also for decision makers to invest in knowledge base and maybe have a small R&D team where technology guys can actually, your network guys, engineers and all, they can test out things before they are needed. This is very vital because sometimes some of this, today everything with new tools. Some of these new tools, they come into the market even with bugs. And when your team do not have the opportunity to play around with it and stuff like that, you would not, you would just end up shouting and shouting and shouting. But the truth is that they are no magicians. So unless you give them that learning platform where they can take out things, have these labs and learn all these things, and it would not, they will not be able to meet you at that pace that you are requesting. So you will find out that most times not that projects go bad, but just that the timelines are not achievable because of some of these things not happening at the nick of time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Chidi, over to you. One advice.
One advice for me would be that the transformation journey for organizations it's a journey, it's not a destination. And so organizations need to align their business objectives to their technology needs, or their technology needs to their business objectives.
Thank you, Chidi. Theodore, one advice from you too, please.
Yes, so I'll start by using this phrase. Customers often don't need to know we have problems. However, we are charged to deliver best user experience. And I'm very big on user experience because nobody should actually know that you have an issue. And being that technology has evolved, and being that we're looking at where technology is going to, it is now of the essence that we do the right thing. And doing the right thing means that we have the right people listening to us, we have the right workforce, we have the right tools, we have the right infrastructure. And when you put all these things together, you obviously would have a future, and a future-proof workplace, and also an infrastructure. So my one advice I would give out, which would be my best, would be pay attention to your team, because most times you sit on the high table, where big decisions are made. You don't have that time to go into the books to do the research. You don't have that time to read in between the lines. But the workforce that you have that reports to you would obviously want to do that because it also improves their career. So in a nutshell, pay attention to your team, and just know that your team will be able to give you the right solution to drive the business.
Thank you, Todo. Very insightful questions and wonderful input from everybody. I'd also like to mention, because it is a journey, we're looking at scaling our infrastructure, but we would also look at investing in human assets, as Chidi mentioned during the digital transformation journey. Investing in human assets is very important. There are key gaps as technologies are evolving. You need to scale up your team. You need to make sure they have access to the right information and knowledge and labs to do all of the practice they have to do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now we'll be taking some quick questions from some of our attenders on the line. I'll just be scanning through, and I'll be asking. Now I have a question from Olushola Bolarin. It says, what is the latest health technology IT invention, and how has it affected network infrastructure? So, can you help us with that?
Well, I may not want to let a lot of things out of the bag. Health technology has a suite of solutions. One of them is our managed services. And what that does is for us to help organizations get to market quickly and ensure that the bottleneck of setting up infrastructure, getting the right teams to do stuff around, they are taken away so that they can have the opportunity to focus on their business. Then again, there are some other things we also lay out on top of solutions now. We're also looking at how to improve customer services in different areas. So we have very good team of personnel that ensure that the team are up to by what they're doing, basically. So while we have a couple of people also heavily invested in AI and machine learning, so we're trying to take hold of that so that we can also manage, take a share of the market share. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. So I have another question from eBay Peter, and it says, "How can I be an effective network engineer, especially in AI technology?" Chidi, can you help us with that?
How can I be an effective network engineer, especially in AI technology? You can start with being an effective network engineer, that's for sure. I will encourage you to um, get the right material, get the right books. I know reading books, paper is not fashionable today. I know that. But I mean, whichever way is your best style of studying, of reading, of learning, I think you need to find the right content and build yourself as a network engineer. There are, quite a number of courses, trainings that are available today online. I mean, there's ChatGPT as well. You can ask ChatGPT this question. I'm sure ChatGPT is going to give you a very crazy answer and probably 10 times better than my response. And you could do a follow-up question. How can I start? Where can I find the resources? And I'm sure ChatGPT can give you a much better answer than I'm giving to you here. So basically, I'm not just answering your question. I'm telling you how to get the best of the answers that you need to be an effective engineer, especially in AI technology.
Yeah, thanks, Chidi. Just to buttress some of your points, exciting times for network engineers and the current landscape we find ourselves. I mean, AI is here. AI is not coming to take your job, but if you don't use AI, somebody that does might end up taking your job. So AI is a tool that you have to familiarize yourself with, even as network engineers, to just help you understand certain technologies and have a deeper understanding into whatsoever you're configuring and how it works. So thank you for that, Chidi. Over to you, Theodore. I have a question, and it says, "Zero trust is the buzzing word in cybersecurity, but is it practical for all business, or is it just a trending word or a trending sound, good in theory?"
Yeah, so I would make reference to what Chidi said earlier, then I would answer the question. Zero trust is a concept, right? It's a concept that needs to be studied. Now, company A might have a different way of understanding zero trust and implement it in their own way, on their own understanding, and as well as company B. But at the end of the day, like Chidi said, you trust no one, you trust no device, you trust no infrastructure. You basically don't trust anybody, even yourself. So everything has to be, you have to authenticate everything. You have to make sure they have access to the right workload and the right resources. But however, we have seen scenarios where zero trust, was not properly understood or not properly implemented. So it's not just a buzzword, or it's not just a word outside there. It's something it's a concept that has come to stay, and is a concept that must be implemented if you're looking at, enhancing your workspace and also implementing the right security structures and procedures. So my answer to this question will be, it's not just a buzzword, it's a concept, and it's an architect, it's not an architecture now, but I'm looking for the right word. It is something that has come to stay. So zero trust has come to stay, right? And companies or infrastructures or organizations must, or should, not must in this case, but should, from an advisory standpoint, adopt zero trust. So in most cases, they might not adopt it, holistically, but like we all have agreed, during that digital transformation journey, find somewhere to include security, find somewhere to even break it down to the necessary nitty-gritty so that the proper things can be put in place.
Yeah, thank you, Todo. Still on the zero trust topic, Felix is also asking. He says, "Please, can zero trust be integrated into network infrastructures? What are its key advantages and potential challenges?" I mean, still on the zero trust.
There are so many that I can't even list right now on this call, because we're limited to time. But one typical example I'll give you is one of the most used cases is infrastructure authentication, whether it is a network device or even an end user device. Once you get into an infrastructure that is unauthorized, first of all, it's unauthorized. So for you to be authorized, you have to authenticate. And authenticating doesn't mean just providing a password. You now have to provide something second, which is in most cases MFA. And MFA, to drill down to MFA, you have different methods of MFA now, which companies are even now, adopting passwordless, which is another concept again. So it can be implemented in numerous places. One of the biggest use case today will be, device authentication, TACACS, because you want to take, cognizance and records of who log into these devices and even what they do, the commands they execute. And this will give you insights as well, which we have always talked about in case there is a downtime or a wrong command being used for the wrong purpose or the right purpose, or so to say. So there are so many use cases, and you can just, find more information online.
Thank you, Tudor. Thank you so much. Paul is asking, people are afraid that AI will take their jobs as professionals in tech. How true is this? I think, Paul, I already answered your question. You should not be afraid. You should adopt AI, understand AI, and it would help improve your productivity. So nobody's coming to take your job. No AI is coming to take your job. But if you don't use AI, somebody that uses AI will probably take over your job, Paul. So Paul, get familiarized with AI. Somebody's asking, and it says, thanks for the section. What are the most common network security vulnerabilities organizations overlook, and how can they be effectively mitigated? Chidi, can you help us with this? Network vulnerabilities that organizations overlook, and how can they be mitigated?
Yeah, there's several vulnerability. Would I use the word vulnerabilities? I would probably won't use it, but there are several things that organizations overlook that create security breaches within organizations. One of them, which is mostly overlooked, is the people factor, right? The people factor, which is me and you. When we talk about zero trust being a concept and like a strategic initiative, training and retraining of the people and making sure that the people understand what their responsibilities are, what their jobs are, the tools they need, the kinds of access they must possess, the privileges that they should have and should not have, and making sure that the people, the human beings, are not exploited, because sometimes very good attackers don't just target systems, they target the most vulnerable people within organizations. If you can get the most vulnerable people with the highest privileges, you can just imagine the kind of access you have within an organization. So I think that is one factor that is mostly overlooked when we're spending money on our transformation journey. We need to also put the human beings, the human factor into the journey as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, Chidi. I made mention of poor IT hygiene. I mean, if you're going on a digital transformation journey, you also have to invest in IT hygienes for all of your staff and people that are coming in to work for you, be it at home or at the office. They need to have good IT hygiene. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Trudeau, we have a question specifically for you from Emily on the BC. It says, are there any ways to mitigate against rising costs of setting up infrastructures without compromising on quality?
That's a very dicey one.
Yes, it is.
If you want good stuff, then you have to pay for it.
Yeah,
right?
true.
But there are also means that you can, find a meeting ground, and this will be where I would focus on scalability. So scalability and preference, in terms of priority. So you look at your budget, you you know the roadmap you want to take, which is your digital transformation journey. Now you break it down into maybe 5 years or a 3 years digital transformation plan. Then you now also create a list of devices or a device, a bill of material also, or what it will take you to get to that place you want to be, and now place priority on these devices or on this equipment you will need for your infrastructure. So if you're able to do that, at least you know the important things to buy, but also maintaining a certain amount of budget. So you might, I wouldn't advise you to just, install one firewall if you're a big organization that has about 50 or 60 or 45 branches. Chooks will not do that, So I would say you get two, but maybe you squeeze in maybe one branch that is supposed to have two switches, to be able to patch up the fire. So is a factor of, take from here and prioritize here, but also still maintaining that digital transformation journey. So, but I would end by saying, if you want something good, then you have to pay for it, but also place, priorities to be able to manage your budget.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons why we have digital transformation journey in phases.
Exactly.
Phase one, you have what you need. You see the value you're getting from what you've implemented in phase one. Then you can go to phase two. It is a journey. It is not just something you start and you finish. So it's a journey. As your demands continue to increase, then you continue to scale. So yes, that works. So I have another question from Chooks O, and it says, do you see the growth of AI reducing the demand for network engineers in the near future? Osama, can you help us with this?
Yes, sure. Okay. I don't think that is true, and I will explain why. Um, First of all, if you are going to deploy AI within the organization or want to deploy AI for anything at all, you still need that foundation of networks and information systems hardware that you could use. So AI will not work irrespective of that, right? We do understand that some of these things, yes, they start from the cloud. But if you're going to set up your cloud environment, for example, you still need network engineers to be able to do that for you. If you, I know that some of these cloud environments, they have like a quick start and you just click and click and click through everything. That's not the case. It may be there, but you still need those specialists to ensure that the proper segmentation is done and there are good separation of concerns around it. So again, if you are building models from scratch, part of what you'll be working with are high-end systems, and you need specialists who will configure these high-end systems to ensure that there's proper connectivity between these systems. The regular systems we have are not used for training machine learning models, right? So you still need these guys. So I don't think that AI will take over network. No, it won't. However, AI will be very useful for network engineers because where you have a lot of logs from your network, you are seeing the activity within your network. You can push it into a bucket, and you have AI look at it for you and quickly to be able to point out where you have vulnerabilities and have your network engineers respond to it. So it helps them to even be more proactive at the end of the day. So I don't think AI won't do everything by itself. Sometimes when you are training your AI, you still need the specialist to tell the AI, this is what you should look out for. These are the certain responses that you need from the AI at certain particular points. So you still need those guys to do that. And it is not a one size fits all. For every environment, it's a different set of rules and approach. So you still need the networking. So AI will not be taking over their job. As a matter of fact, it will help them even understand the business better and focus on more focus on services that will drive better customer satisfaction and improvement of your solutions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sam. Apologies to everyone. We are 3 minutes past time, but I'll just indulge us to let's extend our session by 10 minutes because we have a couple of more questions to take. There's a question from Organ, and it says, IT is not cheap, but IT is very essential to drive growth, especially in today's business world. So how can startups begin their IT journey and scale up considering the financial implications? Chidi, can you help us with that?
Yeah. I mean, like they say, cut your coat according to your size, or some will say, cut your coat according to your material.
Exactly.
It clearly suggests to us that you're a startup, you're not a financial institution, right? So you have to be a startup, means that you have to run a lean operation. And one of the ways and one of the things to consider when running lean operations is to think about how you treat your IT services, right? And today, for a lot of for organizations that need to run lean, they rely to a large extent on cloud services. Cloud services for 95% of their operations, okay? What it then means is that you can have an operations officer in such an organization that has a phone, and with his phone, he has access to IT operational dashboards and can monitor and manage IT infrastructure just running off his phone. Okay? And you could have such people also double up across other aspects of the business. So that's usually what you find with startups. And I think startups need to leverage the services, and there are quite a number of services, including infrastructure services, some of which Cisco also provides, that you can leverage for as a startup organization.
Yeah, in addition to what Chidi has also said, that's one of the reasons why we offer the managed services approach. Managed services is also very good for organizations that do not have the funds to put together all the infrastructure they need to start. So it's more or less like it starts small and you grow along the way. So you don't need to go out buy heavy machines into your organization when your business is just starting, or when you are a startup, for example. Remember, as a startup, before you get things like seed, investor, or funding and all of that, you need to have a proof of concept. You need to be able to show to your investors where you are going to. So that is where you actually need solutions like money services. So I just support that too as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, so well, we have so many questions coming in. For the brevity of time, we'll not be able to take all of these questions. We'll definitely find ways to email your questions back to you, or your replies back to you. This was a fantastic discussion. A huge thank you to Chidi, to Theodore, and also for sharing their insights today. It's very clear that businesses involved, so their network infrastructure must also involve balancing security, scalability, and innovation. At Hes Technology, we help businesses navigate these challenges with tailored network transformation strategies. Whether you're looking to enhance security, improve scalability, or integrate emerging technologies, our team is ready to support your journey. To continue the conversation or explore how Hes Technologies can help your organization, feel free to reach out to us via our website, www.hestechnologies.com, or email us at support@hestechnologies.com. Thank you all for joining us today. Stay informative and stay secured. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks
Theodore.
for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Very
Bye-bye.
insightful. Thank you, guys.